Hello everyone. So for today's video I am doing another intricate Zentangle. This was done on an 8.5 by 11 piece of white cardstock using my Pigma Micron pens, and I also used some Copic multiliner and my Statler multiliner pens, and I colored it in with some colored pencils at the end. Overall, it took about 4.5 hours to draw and then another 2 hours to color. And instead of having you listen to the annoying music that I sometimes have on my videos, I have decided to answer some questions that you guys asked me over on Facebook. And to help me out, I have my Princess Allison here to ask me the questions that you guys asked. So let's get started.
Terry Dora asks, how much time per day would you say is dedicated to Zentangle?
It really depends on the type of day it is. On drawing days, I might draw all day long and just stop to eat lunch and dinner, or if I'm not recording that day, I might not draw anything, but I'm usually doing something. I'd like to say I at least spend a couple hours a day looking up different patterns, trying different patterns, or looking at other people's artwork, or interacting with you on Facebook, or answering YouTube questions. So I'm always doing something related to Zentangle. I'd say usually between 2 and 4 hours is average, and then on recording days it can go much, much, much longer.
Heidi Johnson asks, if you were a beginning tangler, what would be the best advice to take?
I would suggest getting the Pigma Micron pens, because that really made a world of difference for me when I was first starting out. Of course, when I was in high school, I just doodled using regular ballpoint pens and pencils and things, but when I started using the Pigma Microns, it made a huge difference, because you can get dramatic difference in looks for the same pattern just by using a different tip pen. So definitely that. Also, don't put too much pressure on yourself. You may not be perfect right out of the gate, just starting or whatever, but keep on practicing, and eventually you will get the hang of it and you'll come up with your own style of Zentangling. And when you're learning new patterns, what I suggest to a lot of people is to find a template online, like a coloring page or a mandala that you can doodle within, and that way your string is already there, so you don't have to really think too much about where you are going to put the next tangle, because you already have boundaries and things set up for you in the drawing.
Renee Ali Calhoun asks, what do you do when you stare at a blank piece of paper and can't see something? Do you ever get stumped as to how to finish or start a design?
I usually get stumped as to how to start a design. You only see when I know what I want to do, and I'm already heading in a direction that I want to go. But before I start recording, I usually do about 3 or 4 pieces of paper that get thrown away, because it's just not what I envisioned, or something goes wrong that I don't like. I'm just not feeling the flow of it, and then I'll finally get to where I want to go, and I'll start recording. And there's always times that I stare at a blank piece of paper and I can't see something. And all you really can do is try to look for inspiration. Sometimes looking at other people's art will help you out, or you'll see a tangle that you're like, ooh, I want to try that. And that's how I kind of bring myself out of that. But yes, that happens to me quite a bit.
Tyler Mao asks, what inspires you to create new and interesting Zentangles / drawings?
All kinds of things. I might see, like I said before, I might see a pattern that I want to try out, or I might see somebody's artwork that I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could do that in a different kind of way. So it kind of inspires me to try my own thing. sort of based on what they were doing, but not exactly the way they did it, obviously. And music always gets me going, and as well as reading books. Books always put ideas in my head, and I just want to be creative while I am reading a book. So I listen to my books. So while I'm drawing and doing my Zentangling, I'm always listening to my Kindle and listening to a book on there. And that, I don't know why, but sometimes it just gives me inspiration to draw.
Anne Reed asks, what are your favorite pattern books?
I don't have any. I don't, to be completely honest, I've looked at a few of them and I don't like any of them. And it's only because the way they teach it or the way they describe it is just not the way that I learn. I learn just by looking and then trying it on my own. And so they're really not terribly helpful. And it's nothing that you can't find through looking at on the internet or looking at like Zentangling groups and things. So it's not anything exciting to me. So I'm sorry, but I don't have a favorite pattern book that I can suggest to you. I can tell you that I do like going to tanglepatterns.com and looking at the different Zentangles that they have on there.
Anne Reed asks, what do you do when you make a mistake?
I make a mistake at least once every drawing, usually more, and I just try to figure it out and try to incorporate it by either changing the pattern, changing the design. In this one, I made several mistakes, and I'm not going to point them out, but I'm sure if you take a look and think about what I've done in the past, you can kind of see where I've made mistakes on here, and I had to try and figure out something different for it. Yeah, I really believe in the philosophy that there are no mistakes, only opportunities, and I used to think that was such a cheesy line, but in Zentangling, I think that's really true, because all Zentangling is creating repeating patterns. So any mistake line can be turned into a pattern in some way, shape, or form. Just take a minute, look at what you've done, and see what you can do with it.
Amy Rose would like to know about the best pens and how to incorporate color successfully.
The best pens are Pigmamicron, in my opinion, and I've tried out the Copic multiliner pens. I haven't used the refillable ones because they are quite expensive, but I really like Pigmamicron pens even better than the Copic multiliner disposable pens that I have. I think they write the smoothest. They don't leave dots when you lift up the pen off of the paper. They don't bleed through. They're just a really good quality pen. As far as incorporating color successfully, I don't really know what to say for that other than make sure that when you are coloring that you don't choose a color that's going to be too dark and covers up your Zentangle, because that would be disappointing. And yes, that has happened to me more than once. So yeah, that's pretty much the only advice. Just keep practicing. You'll come up with your own style of how to incorporate color into your Zentangles.
Annalisa Bevan asks, what age would you recommend teaching kids to Zentangle? And what patterns would you recommend young folks start with?
What age? Really any age, as long as they have an interest. If they have an interest, then they will definitely want to pay attention and want to learn. Allison was 10 when she started to Zentangle along with me, and she picked up certain patterns that she was able to do. That's the biggest thing, is that some of the patterns can get quite complicated, so you don't want to choose patterns that are too difficult. A lot of the ones on my channel that I've done tutorials for are pretty easy, and a good one to start off with is Black Box, and it's just a very easy grid line pattern that you create, and you can actually draw that really large and have them draw smaller Zentangles within the boxes that they created with Black Box. And it's just I mean, it really depends on the kid. Are they good at manipulating their pens, or are they a little slow on drawing and learning how to draw and things like that? It really depends on the kid. So,
S.K. Peterman asks, do you have something you think you can't draw and still try it again and again?
yes, I have several patterns that I don't know how to draw and have tried over and over again, and I still try them. Three of them, one is called Y Full Power, another one is called Feather Fall, and another one is called CACK. And I can do them, but they just don't look right. And it's all just a matter of practicing. I'm sure I'll get it eventually, and then I'll wonder how I had a problem with it to begin with. But yeah, I mean, the best advice I can give is to just keep on trying, because that's what I do. But of course, there's things that I can't draw. And outside of Zentangling, I can't draw anything really. I mean, you've seen the little characters that I've done, like the butterfly and things like that. But in general, I can't draw anything realistic. Like if somebody were to tell me to draw a person or to draw a landscape or something, it would look like a third grader drew it. So, I mean, of course there's things that I can't draw. So everyone has that problem, I think. There's always something that somebody gets stuck on. And if anybody tells you otherwise, call them a liar.
Rita Weigel asks, is there a list of tangles available that are categorized info, focal tangles, backgrounds, borders, fillers, etc., to make it easier to choose what to use?
There isn't, and the reason for that, I'm sure, is that what I may consider a filler pattern, like you'll see in this one on the left-hand side of this Zentangle, there's little circles that I did, and that I consider a filler pattern because I can put it in teeny tiny spaces and usually put it anywhere to kind of bring together two patterns that wouldn't normally fit together. But you may see the circles as a focal tangle where you want everything to be inside of circles, or you want that to be where your focal point is at the circles. So really art is really subjective. So to put tangles into a box like that, I think would be detrimental to Zentangle, and it would really kind of limit the creativity process, I think, personally. And that is why I really don't see a website or a blog post or anything categorizing each different Zentangles. Plus, there's so many patterns out there that it would be really difficult to do that because every single day there's more patterns popping up all over the place. So, no, there isn't, and I don't think there will be a site like that.
Diane Pick-Ross asks, I've heard that using an oil painting solvent for a blending effect when using colored pencils is good. Any thoughts on that or other helpful hints?
I've never used oil painting solvent for anything, let alone a blending effect. I have taken a look online to see what would work. I know that Sharpies react to alcohol. Would I use? I wouldn't use that personally because I think the alcohol, would just spread out too far on the page to actually create something out of it. I don't think that would work for me. But you might want to try it. You never know what will work and what won't work until you try it out. But I'm not really sure. I've never really used anything to help me with blending. Even in my Sharpie blending, I only use the Sharpies, and I take advantage of when that Sharpie pen is wet. I just keep drawing over and over on that, like I showed in my Sharpie blending tutorial. But I wish I could help out, but I honestly don't know of anything that helps with blending because I haven't really experimented with it too much.
Sandra Golland Crabtree asks, How do you figure out what should go where and what will look good?
This is something that I get asked most frequently, and the best thing that I can say is that I, in my head, have a few tangles that I can use in teeny tiny spaces. So if I'm using two square, like grid line patterns, and I have them angled off, it's going to create some space somewhere, and it needs to be filled with something. So I have different patterns that I can fit in there. One is like a hash mark, like a hashtag mark, and I just do that over and over and over again. Like I said before, I also use different sized circles with different widths around the edges, and I think that creates an interesting effect. I like using catkin, which looks like the pussy willows that I draw quite a bit, because that I can use to make it look like it's going behind one pattern and then over another pattern, and it kind of brings the drawing together a little bit more. But yeah, I just have a list in my head of different patterns that I can use anywhere and with any other pattern. So, and that helps me quite a bit. As far as if it will look good, all you can really do is keep experimenting and trying to figure out, your own style. And I'm sure, like some people probably won't even like the catkin design that I like so much, or won't even like the circle design that I like to use in different spaces. But that's all a matter of taking your time and trying to figure out what patterns you like the best and what patterns are going to work for you to bring the whole drawing together. Also, you really kind of just have to force yourself to put patterns together that don't look like they would belong next to each other. The more you try and do that, even though it might feel awkward at first, you will figure out how to make it look good. And I promise you that, because that's what I did. I just said, you know what? If I'm going to get anywhere with these drawings, I'm just going to have to put the patterns on the paper and then figure out how to make it look good. Shading really helps with this, because if there's like an edge or something that you've messed up a little bit, then you can put shading on to the edge and it kind of covers everything up. So I definitely recommend shading. And I don't, like I've told you guys before, I don't follow any rules with trading or with shading, so just put it wherever you think would look good, or over anything that you made a mistake on. So I guess that is all for today. Thank you very much, Allison, for asking me these questions.
No problem.
I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any other questions that you would like to ask me, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'll be doing another video like this at some point. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you again very soon.